Well, YouTubers, I hope you enjoyed all those lessons on how to add, subtract, and multiply polynomials using algebra tiles. In this video, I'm actually not going to be using algebra tiles at all. I know it's titled algebra tiles, but we're actually going to be using the box method. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because, as you saw in the previous videos, especially in multiplying, the box method that we used and algebra tiles are virtually the same thing. The only difference is written versus visual. So what I'm going to be doing is showing you how it doesn't matter what I give you, not just binomial times binomial. It could be things much, much larger, and the box method will still work, and that diagonal pattern will still work itself out. So let's go ahead and look at this one. I've got 2x squared plus 3x minus 4, 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 7x plus 2. Now that is a trinomial times a quadrinomial, or in most classes they'll just say a polynomial with 4 terms. Now in most of your Algebra 1 classes, your teachers would most likely not give you anything this difficult. There's a lot of terms to make sure you multiply there. My goal right now is to show you how, even with all the terms in there, even with the positive and negative signs, this still thing becomes the exact same song with more verses as the ones we did before. So in this case, my first term has got my first polynomial has got 3 terms for it. So 2x squared plus 3x and minus 4. Now remember, we're going to be making columns for each of those. Okay, my second polynomial has got 4 terms. So I've got 3x cubed, 4x squared, negative 7x, and 2. Now remember, the sign goes with each and every one. Let's go ahead and make all of our boxes. Now this one doesn't look like a Punnett square anymore. It's got a whole bunch more terms in it, a whole bunch more boxes. But none of the boxes in here are any more difficult. It's just that there's more of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. 2x squared times 3x cubed. Multiply your 2 coefficients. 2 times 3 gives me 6. We're going to have an x, and if you remember from our exponent lessons, we have to add our exponents. 3 plus 2 gives me 5, so 6x to the 5th. I'm just going to go across each of the rows as they come. 3x cubed times 3x. 3 times 3 gives me 9, and x cubed, x to the first, 3 plus 1 gives me 4th power. Now 3 times negative 4 gives me negative 12, and the x cubed just gets written down. So again, nothing too difficult there, just multiplying our coefficients and adding our exponents. Now 2x squared times 4x squared, 2 times 4 gives me 8. The x gets written down. 2 plus 2 gives me 4. 4 times 3 gives me 12x. 2 plus 1 gives me 3. 12x cubed. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. And then the x squared gets written down. 2 times negative 7 gives me negative 14. X, 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Negative 7 times 3 gives me negative 21. X times x, 1 plus 1 gives me x to the 2nd power, or x squared. Negative 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And of course our x just gets written down. There's nothing to combine it with. 2 times 2 gives me 4, and then nothing to combine with, so the x squared comes down. 3 times 2 gives me 6, and again that x is going to drop. And then negative 4 times negative 2 gives me negative 8. Whew! That whole thing all filled out. Now let's worry about how to combine all these like terms. Now if you remember on our binomial times binomial, that diagonal box, or those boxes that were diagonal from each other, were the ones that combined. Let's go ahead and look at this. Right here, my diagonals. My x to the 4th are diagonal from each other. Here, my x cubes all lined up perfectly in a diagonal there. My x squareds lined up, and so did my x's. So all I have to do is add all these diagonals to figure out all my combined like terms. It's all nice and organized for us. So let's start in the top corner. 6x to the 5th is just going to come out and get written down. Now, let's combine our like terms for x to the fourth. 9 plus 8 gives me a positive 17. Now let's do our x cubes. Here's where we gotta start doing some math. Negative 12 plus 12, that's nice. Those two cancel out or subtract out. So 0 minus 14 gives me a negative 14x cubed. Now let's do our x squared term. Negative 16 minus 21 is going to be a negative 37. Negative 37 plus 4 is going to give me a negative 30, 37 plus 4, negative 33. Now for my x's, negative 28 plus 6 will give me a negative 22, and then my negative 8 just jumps out. Now, like I said, there is nothing that I would give my Algebra 1 students that difficult. However, my point with this whole thing to show you is that it doesn't matter what size I give you, the box method will work, and you don't have to worry about accidentally forgetting some terms. There's different methods that we've been taught about: distribution, double distribution, FOIL. While those are all really good methods, a lot of times it's very easy to accidentally forget one or two of the terms. When you run with the box method, just make sure you're multiplying all the way through and don't leave any boxes blank. Honestly, the hardest part of this entire thing is just combining those like terms, which if you don't remember how to do that, how to add and subtract, you could always just grab a calculator to add and subtract those things. So the biggest deal here is making sure that all of those line up. So sometimes we'll give problems that they don't exactly want to line up right. Now, here's one example. I'm not going to do this whole problem out, but let's just do x squared plus 5 times x minus 1. Now, the way of making this thing work out nice is across the top, I'm going to put my x minus 1. Now, down the side, I'm going to have x squared. There is no x term. Make sure that you put a 0x there, okay? And then plus 5. If you plug in that missing term as a 0, you're not going to have to worry about your stuff getting misaligned. See, x times x squared gives me x cubed. Negative 1 times negative x gives me negative x squared. Now this 0 times anything is just going to come out to be 0, x squared. 0 times negative 1 again is a 0x. X times 5 gives me 5x. And negative 1 times 5 gives me negative 5. Now, again, my diagonals lined up. You can see that if I had not written this box down at all, if I just had completely skipped it, then my x squared and my x would be diagonal from each other, and I wouldn't have the like terms there. That's why I added that one in. So if we ever skip terms in there, go ahead and plug that in, and you don't have to worry anything. I said I wouldn't finish it, but let's go ahead and finish that up. X cubed comes down. Negative x squared plus 0 gives me negative x squared. So 0x and 5x gives me positive 5x, and then minus 5. So there you go. I absolutely love the box method. When we get into later, more advanced topics about factoring, which is starting from the answer and going back to the factors, the box method is going to make things so much simpler, and so are algebra tiles. So good luck with those math problems.